All right, so welcome everyone. This is going to be the first episode of what I'm going to call In the Fur Shed. So just a little background here. Basically, what I've come to now is I've always prided myself on trying to answer as many comments as I possibly can on the channel. I've been doing this for quite a while now, going on like 6 years. And in those years, I put up like 200 some videos. And basically what it comes down to is I get so many comments, anymore that it's kind of impossible for me to answer and reply to every one of them. Now don't get me wrong, I read every single one of them. Just to actually sit down and reply to everyone, it just takes too much time. Needless to say, I still enjoy all the comments you guys leave. It's one of the things that kind of keeps me going, putting up videos. But what I wanted to do is, with having 200 and some videos now, a lot of the comments that I get, they kind of overlap on video to video. And a lot of them are, good questions that I think a lot of people would benefit from. And it's just, with having so many videos here and there, a lot of people that would, benefit from having that question answered, they won't ever get to see it. So what I'm going to try to start doing is, basically just a simple Q&A. I'm going to call it In the Fur Shed. Now that trapping season's getting going here, I'm going to try to do it once a week. I'm not going to run it real long. Hopefully try to stay, 10 to 15 minutes. Something that, a guy can sit down, have a little sit down in his evening, or morning drive to work or whatever. Listen to, a little Q&A that I put on, and maybe take a few tips or something from this video. And hopefully, by doing this, I'm going to try to pull comments from this video. So, everybody that comments on this video with questions, I'll answer it the following week. And hopefully that will, that'll kind of localize all the comments, and also, help more people out. It's kind of what I'm going for. For those of you that's been following me for a real long time, you'll kind of remember back in the day I used to do live streams. There was a little group of us, we got together every week, did a live stream, and for the most part those videos were very successful. But it was just hard to get everybody to come together, and then you're looking at all the time zones. It was just hard to kind of get everybody on the same page, so to speak. So hopefully with doing this little Q&A video, I can kind of have something to go back on. People can come in, tune in and watch, and we'll kind of go from there. So anyway, that was long drawn out. That's what this video is going to be about. Like I said, for this first one here, we're going to kind of keep it short. What I did was I just kind of went through the last couple of days, all the comments I've got. I'm just going to pull a few from there, and then like I said, guys, in the future, if we keep this going here, put your comments down below of questions and I'll answer them the previous week. Hopefully we keep this going. I feel like there's a lot of benefit to something like this. So anyway, we'll get started here. One of the big things that's been, one of the most asked questions that I get is if I'm trapping this year. And yes, I'm going to try to trap this year. I put out a little vote there on YouTube a while back. I got like 1,000 votes on it, and I basically said, if I'm working, will you guys be willing to watch videos that's in the dark? You guys, like an 85 to 15%, 85% of you guys said yes, you'll watch them. So I've got some portable filming lights in the mail. They should be here in the next few days, and hopefully that'll help the the night filming out a little bit. Try to get you guys out on the line as much as I can, as well as doing stuff here in the Fur Shed. Another big thing that's happened within kind of all summer, and really within the last couple of weeks, it's really came to pass, is talking about NAFA. Now, as many of you know, I've sold to NAFA for probably the last 8 or 9 years, and I've sold strictly to NAFA. NAFA filed bankruptcy. About a month or so ago, I got the emails, and about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I basically received an email that says NAFA will not be, they will not be accepting wild fur this year. So that's a big deal. NAFA is a major major player in the game, them and fur harvesters. So, I'm sitting there staring at the poster right now. That company's been around since 1670. That's a long, long time, to be around. So, what it's going to do to fur prices, your guess is good as mine. In general, fur prices are down. But, whenever one of the major players leaves, it opens up competition, and competition's never a bad thing. So, I don't know. As far as where I'm going to sell my fur to this year, I think I'm going to split it up. I'm going to sell to fur harvesters as well to Groenwald. So we're going to kind of see, I'm not going to necessarily put all my eggs in one basket, but I think right now as it looks, that's kind of what I'm going to do. So anyway, that's a big deal. All right, so getting into a few of the questions, like I said, I'm going to try to keep this fairly short. I don't want some big half-hour video. So anyway, I get a lot of questions on knives, skinning knives in particular, as well as these first cut knives. Get that in the picture there. These are first cut knives. I get a lot of people that questions this whenever they watch my fur handling videos. And a lot of these are, people that just haven't seen them before. So what this is, I could show you that right there. This is what I call a first cut knife. I think a lot of people call them pelting knives. Essentially what it is this a triangular shaped knife. I use them for my first cut. And essentially what you can do is as you go into the animal, you cut up, you don't cut down, and that allows you to not cut into the meat. Skunks especially, you can cut around the scent glands, different things like that. I've got a couple different varieties. I'm not going to say one's the better or the worst. Get a good steel, and I sharpen them all the time. But that's what these knives are. They're first cut knives, and like I said, they're very, very useful. I still use them for all my opening cuts on coons and everything else. Getting into skinning knives, I get a lot of new guys that are always asking me, what kind of skinning knives do I get? And I can see that there's a lot of options out there. From high dollar skinning knives to cheap ones to you got the new ones now. I can't think of the name. It's got the replaceable blades in them. You've got a whole lot of options, and if you're new to the game, it can be kind of overwhelming. So I've been doing this for quite a while. I've put up several thousand critters, and I can tell you right now, my favorite skinning knives are these reground or resharpened butcher's knives. Essentially what they do is they take these butcher knives and they regrind them down into basically like a 5-inch fillet knife style. But one thing that's awesome about them is you've got this big nice handle on all these that you can hold on to. It's good steel. It's all good steel because they're butcher's knives. They're commercial knives, and they sharpen up real easy. They're also super cheap. You can buy a dozen of them for like $20. I went through it. Whenever I first started, this is one of my initial knives that I bought way back when. These are knives of Alaska. These are expensive knives. You can see there's a rounded one, there's a little pelter. At the time I thought this is what I needed, and I can tell you right now, these are more of a conversation piece. They sit on the wall. I don't use them. These knives here are knives that I use 100% of my skinning, which gets me back to another thing, sharpening. Everybody always asks about that. So this is the Work Sharp knife sharpener. There's been infomercials on them for years. This is like one of the original ones. They've got several different brands, but essentially it's a belt-driven sharpener. I sharpen my knives a lot. On a normal night of skinning, I'll sharpen this knife after every couple of coons. Why? Because these things are cheap. I want a sharp knife, and what this allows me to do is it allows me to not worry about if I hit the facial bone or anything else like that. You just sharpen up, get it razor sharp, and go at it again. It's a soft enough steel in these knives that you can keep putting an edge on. It's not so hard that you got to sit there and hone it. So, you know, that's kind of my take on knives. I get a ton of questions on them. Something else that comes up a lot is dealing with fleas and ticks and things of that nature. You know, I get a lot of questions on that. I've shown this in other videos. You know, I've got my dog. He's around us all the time. I want to take care of him. You know, I don't want him to get fleas or anything else. About every canine that you bring in is going to have fleas on it. So what I do is I spray them down with this is knockoff Raid. Essentially some kind of ant or roach or bug killer. Just spray them down. You'll see that fleas just start falling off of them. Give them a little bit. You keep them outside. There's guys that put them in trash bags and everything else, and you can do that. You know, but like all things, you can do the minimum. You can do what gets the job done, or you can take it to an extreme. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. But I can tell you, if you take a coyote, you spray him down with you know, some sort of a bug killer, I've had no problems. You know, my dog's in and out of this first shed all year, and you know, I never have any issues. Another thing that always comes up is about washing fur. You know, and some guys are completely against the washing fur. Some guys, you know, they say you won't get any better prices, you won't get any worse prices. A lot of guys are big on tumbling their fur, and that's fine and great. I wash 95% of the fur that I catch. The reason being is the area that I live in. Where I live in, we deal with a ton of mud. You know, it seems like it only freezes up for a little bit, and then we get a big warm up, and then it you know, it thaws out. And so, you know, you're not dealing with snow for 6 months where nothing gets dirty, so to speak, or you're not dealing with dry desert climate. I'm dealing with mud. Whenever you got an animal that's caught, he's gonna roll around. He's gonna get muddy. And I can tell you from experience that sending up clean fur gets you better prices. I've seen it for years. Not only that, some of the critters that you get are literally mud balls. You have to wash them. You know, so like I said, take my advice, and you know, depending on the location that you're at, you can use it or not. But on the topic of washing fur, I always try to wash my fur before I flesh it. I usually don't wash it before I skin it. I wash everything. Many of you guys have seen it. I wash it in a washing machine. Now, a lot of you guys don't have that option, so I would suggest washing it on the carcass and letting it drip dry. The stuff dries better if it's on the carcass, but like I said, if you've got the ability to have a washing machine set up where it's got a spin cycle on it, that's definitely the best method. One thing I am totally against is washing after you flesh. Now, for a lot of new guys, a lot of novice guys, it kind of seems ass backwards, because you know, you flesh it, then you want to make it real nice and pretty and clean before you put it on the board. The problem with that being is it's very hard to get a washed critter to dry properly. You know, that fat being on that critter allows it to dry. That skin will not dry out. You can flesh it, board it, and you're good to go. So I always wash after I skin and before I flesh. I've got videos on all this stuff, guys. You know, and a lot of times people watch the videos and they don't really kind of catch the little things that they ask the questions. So that's what this in the fur shed kind of Q&A thing is going to be about. Hopefully, like I said, a lot of guys, you know, have questions. They'll comment here. We'll answer them every week. You know, we'll just spread knowledge. That's kind of what I'm doing. You know, I realize there's not much to these videos besides, you know, sitting here looking at my ugly mug. But, you know, turn the visual off and listen to it if that suits you. You know, listen to it going to work. Hopefully you guys will be able to take something out of this. Like I said, I hope this really catches on. Like, you know, the amount of comments that I get in a day, especially, you know, say between October and February, it is overwhelming. And I realize that, you know, there's a lot of knowledge that can be learned from other people, because I see the comments overlapping so many times throughout the videos. So anyway, guys, that's about all I've got for today. please, if you don't mind, like this video. You guys do not realize how much it helps if you like the video. It takes a second. The way the algorithms are working now, a liked video really gets boosted and shared a lot more than an unliked video. Please comment down below your questions for next week. I'm going to try to do this every week. It kind of keeps me putting up videos as well as spreading different knowledge. So anyway, guys, cheers to you guys. Right before I came out here, I noticed we broke over 41,000 subs. That's incredible. Never thought I'd get this far. It's because of you guys. So anyway, guys, we'll have more videos out. Please leave a comment below. Until next time, appreciate it.